Hello, Shrun.
Hello, Mohit.
Hello, how are you doing, my friend? Good to
I'm
see
very
you.
good. I'm very good.
Excellent, excellent. How's Cambodia? How's the weather there? Is it warm now?
The weather a little bit cold in the morning and a little bit warm in the midday.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, it's getting warm in Delhi as well. Okay, great. So we've got people joining in. Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome to our weekly webinar on birds. And this time it's Cambodia. And we have the expert with us. Ladies and gentlemen, his name is Sikol, but I think we also call, a lot of people call him Shrun. So Shrun is your main name, or is Shrun, is that the name that usually people would use to address you, like a nickname?
It is my nickname and easy for everyone to, yeah. So just one word and then easy.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We will wait for some more time, and I can see a lot of my friends are here. Vikas is here, Gary is here, Harpreet, Subhash, welcome, welcome. Pari, welcome. And oh, Petch, how are you doing, Petch? Good to see you, Ben. Good to see you. So Petch went with us to see the Dukes and the Gibbons, and he's the one who we camped in the forest when we went east of Siem Reap, and it was really beautiful. How are you, Brian? Good to see you. Good to see Chrissy. And we have an expert from Cambodia, Shrun, here today with us, who's going to be talking about the birds and the cultural aspects of Cambodia. If you haven't been to Cambodia, this is one place we all have to do before we die. And this is fantastic for birds. The kind of conservation work that these people are doing is fantastic. Let me quickly introduce you to Shrun, Shrun to you so that you know who he is. And, you know, so his name is Sikol. He's a bird tour guide from Cambodia Bird Guide Association. He's been working in conservation, community, and bird watching for more than 10 years. You know, during his talk, he will share with you about Cambodian people, religion and beliefs, culture and traditions, Angkor temples, natural heritage, conservation, and of course, bird watching. He's a bird guide there who knows a lot. When I was in Cambodia a year and a half ago, I met him and we had dinner together, and I'm really in awe of what he's doing. So friends, this is about Sikol. The idea, the goal of the webinar is to talk about the ecotourism practices that Cambodia is following. Cambodia, Siem Reap is very, very beautiful place. It's got these beautiful temples. It's got beautiful farmlands. It's got bogs and great habitat for lots of birds, lots and lots of wetlands around. And CBGA, the organization that he belongs to, Cambodia Bird Guide Association, is doing a lot to save the birds here. So we'll be talking about things related to photography, ecotourism, conservation, rare species, and rural empowerment, and a lot of interesting things. So friends, let me introduce myself. I'm Mohit Aggarwal. I'm blessed with 4 children, a son and a daughter, and 2 non-humans, 1 Labrador and an escapee African grey. I'm a follower of Shiva, and which is why I actually went to Cambodia, because I wanted to see the temples as well. Professionally, I'm an experiential ecotourism specialist with deep love for nature. I help people travel to some wonderful places in Asia. I'm the founder of Asian Adventures, a 26-year-old travel company, largest bird watching tour company in India. The company is on a large mission to help Asian elephants with the corridors, free the Himalayas of plastic waste, and help small wildlife NGOs. My interest is to promote ecotourism in its true essence and convert every tourist into an ecotourist. So I'll quickly welcome all the participants here. I can see that more people have joined in. Welcome Smita, welcome Rohan, welcome Helen. Betty's here. Great. So I won't take more time now. I'm going to have Shrun take over And soon up over to you. You go ahead and I'll enlarge your screen. There you go. Go and address the audience now. Over to you.
Hello everyone. I'm very happy to be here today and share with you about Cambodia. So thank you very much, Mr. Mohit, to organize this event. So my slide will talking about cultural and bird watching in Cambodia. So my first slide to give you a little bit introduction of Cambodia. So as you know that Cambodia is one of Asian country. It is in Southeast Asia. And you can see, if you look at the map, you will see northwest of Cambodia is Thailand. Northeast of Cambodia is Laos. East, you will see Vietnam. And Cambodia has a population of almost 16 million. So still very small compared to Thailand and Vietnam. And Buddhism is our official religion at the moment, practiced by almost 95% of Cambodian. But the Buddhism at the moment in Cambodia also influenced by Hinduism and also animism. And the capital city of Cambodia is Phnom Penh. And if you look at the top of the slide on the right hand side, you will see it is a flag of Cambodia. And Cambodia also is a royal country, so we still have king, and king also the represent also of Cambodia. And in the past, in the ancient time, Cambodia was a very big country and very strong and very famous, and that we call Khmer Empire. It was from 9th to 15th century that Cambodia was very strong. And during the Khmer Empire, if you look at the map on the right hand side, you will see it is very big. You see the yellow color, that is all the Khmer Empire. And the Khmer Empire founded by a king that we call Jayavarman II. He is the founder of the Khmer Empire. And another king that is very famous that everyone knows is Angkor Wat. So his name is Suryavarman II, the builder of Angkor Wat. And another great king of the Khmer Empire is Jayavarman VII. He built a lot of temples during his reign, especially Angkor Thom, that it is a big city, and in the middle of the city there is a state temple that we call Bayon. And during the Khmer Empire, Hinduism or Buddhism were practiced, but most of the time the king and the people worshipping Hinduism, and thousands of temples were built for Hindu gods such as Shiva, Vishnu, or Brahma. But a few times Buddhism became the state religion, especially during the reign of King Jayavarman VII. And in the ancient time, people practice a lot is Hinduism. The reason people practice Hinduism because before Hinduism came to Cambodia, Cambodian we have also a religion that we call natural forces, that we call animism. So people worshipping the tree, the mountain, and the water. If they see a big tree, they believe there will be a god who take care of the tree. When they go to the mountain, they will believe that there is a god to take care of the mountain. So the concept of animism a little bit similar to Hinduism. So most of the time in the past, people worshipping Hinduism. And look at the pictures on my slide, you will see the carving or the statue of gods such as God Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma, and also the Sanskrit that carved on the stone of the temple. And one of the famous Hindu temple in Cambodia is Angkor Wat, that it is also one of the biggest temple in the world. and it is very famous. So Angkor Wat was built in Hinduism for God Vishnu. It was built in 12th century. Some people believe it, it took 37 years to build it, but it never finished. And in Hinduism, there are two stories that's still very popular in Cambodia society, especially if you go to the temple, you will see the carving of those stories. So one is called Ramayana story. If you look on the left-hand side of the slide, you will see the carving from Angkor Wat that showing you about the fighting in Ramayana story. And on the right-hand side, you will see another two carvings that's showing you another story we call Mahabharata. So the two stories, very popular in the past in Cambodia, but now also very popular. If you go to some religious building, you will see the painting of those stories too. And Buddhism also practiced in Cambodia in the ancient time, and now it is officially our state religion. And there is a temple that very famous in the past, especially it was built during the Khmer Empire in late 12th century, that we call Bayon Temple. Bayon Temple very famous because every tower you will see four faces. Yeah, every towers. And it is very unique because the temple that built before that or after that, usually no faces on the tower. And until now, because Buddhism become our state religion, until now there are many temples also built for Buddhism, but it is different from the ancient time because at the moment it was built from concrete. Yeah, it was built from concrete. So in Cambodia, there were two religions were practiced from the past, Hinduism and Buddhism. But until now, only Buddhism that survived, but people still practice Hinduism. And look over here that you see one of the famous temple built in for Buddhism. Especially when you go there, you will see every tower with four faces. And if you look at the carving, it is very interesting because it shows you about the daily life of Cambodian people in the ancient time. So when you see the temple, it is like you were here 1,000 years ago because you will see the carving showing you of the daily life of the local people at that time. So we could learn a lot from our culture from that temple. And this slide will show you about our home and village. So there are many different style of houses built in Cambodia. It depends on the culture and the area where they live. So sometimes they build also big house on steel, and sometimes they build it small. So it depends on the situation and the site. So look over here that you see the map of Cambodia, and you will see the dot. If you see more dot, it means more people and more villages. So the map here also show you about where Cambodian people live in our country. So here in the middle of the map, because of the capital of Cambodia, so there are a lot of people living over there. And then people live more and more to the south of Cambodia because of the coast. And then you will see in the middle, you will see the dark blue color that is called the Lesap Lake. And the lake is very, very good for fishing. And also the soil, the seasonal land is also very good for agriculture. So you will see here, you will see more and more people living around the Lesap Lake. Yeah, more and more. An estimate of more than 4 million people living around this lake. Yeah, it is one of the biggest lakes in Southeast Asia. And then people living along the Mekong River. Yeah, along the Mekong River. So the map shows you about where people live in Cambodia. And look at the top on the right-hand side, you will see a small house. It is also on stilt, but it is a small, it built from wood, and the wall and the roof made from palm leaf. Yeah, so that one usually countryside house. Yeah. And if we go down from that one, you will see a floating house. So this is showing you or telling you about people who live around Tonle Sap Lake, especially over the water surface. So their house are floating. Yeah, so sometimes they use the boat to build the house. So the house is moving around many times during the rainy season and the dry season. It depends on the level of water. So when the water very high, they move the house very close to the flooded forest for safety. But when the water very low, they try to be in the middle of the open lake. And if you go to the bottom, you will see another house. It is very, very interesting and very nice because it is like a cottage, but it is very nice. And this house is not Cambodian. They are a ethnic tribe in the east of Cambodia. So if you go there right now, you still see that house and very interesting. You can also stay and very cool. And another one in the middle at the bottom, you will see another house that it is on still. It can be 4 or 5 meters high. They are very high. And there are also people who live, also the ethnic tribe that they live in the north and northeast of Cambodia, especially in the east, in the east of Cambodia. And the last one on the left-hand side, you see it is a modern house. You will see it was built from wood, but you will see the steel from concrete. So it is a modern house. And you see most of the houses in Cambodia, you see it usually on stilt, because in Cambodia in dry season it is very hot and in rainy season very wet. So number one, they build the house on stilt because they want to protect from the flood, because sometimes it is over flood. So when they build the house on stilt, it is also for safety. And at night there will be maybe some insect or some dangerous animal. So if they stay in the house, they are safe. But in the dry season, because it's very hot, at daytime they may stay under the house. Under the house to get cool. Okay, so I go to the next slide. So the next slide showing you about the people who live around Tonle Sap Lake. So if you look at the map here, you will see the blue color showing you about the water in rainy season. So look here that you see another shape here inside or in the middle of the dark blue color. You will see the shape that is Tonle Sap Lake. So this map showing you about the size and shape of Tonle Sap Lake in rainy season and in dry season. So in rainy season, you will see dark blue, but in dry season, you will see like green. So this is Tonle Sap Lake. So Tonle Sap Lake is very good for fishing. And there are 3 interesting points about Tonle Sap Lake. Number one is about fish. 1,000 tons of fish every year harvested. And people living over there, most of them, they live on a stilt house. The house that built on stilt, they're very high. And some of the family also, they live over water. So they need to build a floating house. They need to build a floating house. But in the dry season, and the soil around the lake also very good, where they can grow vegetables. And some part of the rainy season also very good, where they grow rice. And if you look at the picture from the left-hand side, from the top to the bottom, you will see local people fishing. So you will see a lot of fish harvested. And because we have a lot of fish, so Cambodian people also make many different kinds of food from fish. And look at the second picture below the top, you will see the catfish, but a tiny one. So they make it, we call a smoked fish. So smoked fish, we could keep it for a few months. So in rainy season, a lot of water, we could not fish very much. So we can use the smoked fish for rainy season. And aside from fishing, we also have we also do rice farming, also very good, especially in rainy season. And this slide showing you about people who live along along Mekong River. So if you look at the map, you will see here, you will see there's a line, a dark blue line on the right hand side of the map that's showing you about Mekong. So Mekong River also very good for fish. but also very good for agriculture. So people who live along the Mekong River, they also live on still house, and sometimes or some villages also over the water. And because of the in rainy season, the river usually flooded, so they don't grow much along the river. But in the dry season, when the water gone, the land at the river bank also very good, where they also grow vegetables, corn, and also rice. And people who live along the Mekong River, they also sometimes, especially not far from the river, also very good forest. So local people also could collect forest product and also collect sap. So look at the picture at the bottom on the left hand side, you see a lady or a girl burn the tree. So she doesn't burn the tree to kill it, but she just burned it for a few seconds. And then when it is hot, there will be some sap coming out from the tree. And then she will put out the fire to collect the sap. Yeah. And because of Cambodia, so very, very good, especially a lot of temples were built during the Khmer Empire. And also because of our natural resources also very good. So tourism also very good in Cambodia before COVID-19. Millions of tourists visited Cambodia every year. So if you look at the map here, you will see there are many interesting places around Cambodia where you can do tourism, especially around Siem Reap that you see the temple. But because of the temple were built across the country, you will see also there are other temple area or site in Cambodia. But if you go to the east, you will see not many temple, but it is very good forest, very good places where you see waterfall and different culture. Especially we have also more than 20 ethnic tribes living in the east of Cambodia. And if you go down to the south, you will see because of the coast and also the mountain over there also very nice with evergreen forest. And if you go to the west, you will see another province that we call Battambang province, also one of the famous province in Cambodia, where tourists go there to see culture and also to see nature over there. And in Cambodia, tourism is managed by Ministry of Tourism, and we have also a saying that we say Cambodia Kingdom of Wonder. Yeah, and if you look at the chart or the table on the right hand side, you will see the number of tourists that recorded from 1993 until 2019. So look over here that you see it is very interesting. In 1993, only 100,000 tourists, but in 2019 we have more than 6 million tourists. But because of COVID-19, so not many tourists come to Cambodia, and we hope there will be millions of tourists will be back after COVID-19. And here I would like to show you some of the temples around Siem Reap. So in Cambodia, if we're talking about tourism destination, Siem Reap is number one because of the temples. Yeah, so there are more than 200 temples were built in Siem Reap province, and most of the temple not really far from each other. So in the picture here, I show you 4 pictures of 4 temples that is very famous that you must see if you come to Cambodia. So number one, yeah, at the bottom from the left hand side, you will see Angkor Wat. Yes, as I mentioned before, Angkor Wat, it was built in Hinduism for God Vishnu, and it was built in 12th century. And if you move a little bit to the right hand side, you will see another temple. It was built in Buddhism. It was built in late 12th century. And the temple at the moment very famous because of the tree. You will see a giant trees over there and with a giant root, yeah, wrapped around the temple. Yeah, they're also very good. Especially I think 20 years ago, there was a Hollywood movie because Tomb Raider also filmed over there. And if you go a little bit up, you will see another temple that we call Bayon. Yeah, so Bayon also very good because of the tower with 4 faces, and it was built in Buddhism. And the last one on top, it is not a big temple, it is small, and it is about 35 kilometers from the town. But it was a visit to that temple, and it is almost everyone's favorite because of the color and the detail of the carving. That temple, it was built in 10th century in Hinduism for God Shiva. And because of the carving, very detailed, very tiny, and very, very nice. So people believe it was built by women, not by men. So the modern name mean women's temple. And it was built from pinkish stone, sandstone, yeah. And so all the 4 highlight is the key main temple in Siem Reap, but we still have another interesting temples outside or near those temples. So usually it took like 2 to 5 days to see some of the famous temple in Cambodia or in Siem Reap. And outside of Siem Reap, we have also a lot of places where you go and see different things. Look over here that you can see waterfall, you can see nice forest and nice landscape. So if you come to Cambodia, it may be very interesting if you mix the itinerary. Half is cultural tour where you see the temples, where you learn about our culture and also our religion, and half you can do natural tour because you will see the richness of the nature in Cambodia. So a lot of waterfall, a lot of good forest, a lot of mountain where you can do hiking or trekking. So from now I will talk about natural heritage of Cambodia, and I will talk about conservation and also bird watching. So based on our geography, Cambodia is a shallow country that's surrounded by mountains. So it is like a flying pan that a little bit low and in the middle and a little bit high at the edge of the at the edge of the country. So Cambodia, very, very nice if you look at the map, and it's, there are a lot of mountains across the country, and we have also the plateaus and lowland and also flooded plains, and we have also rivers and lake, sea and coast. And those geography support different habitat and also different forests. Here we have like evergreen forest, we have dry dipterocarp forest, flooded forest, mangrove forest, grassland, and wetland. And those different habitat support different species of animals. And based on the record, more than 100 species of mammal recorded, and more than 600 of birds. Now we have I think now is 650 species of bird for Cambodia, and for reptiles we have more than 170 species, and 900 freshwater fish species. And recently we also do a butterfly record for Cambodia. So until now we have more than 550 species of butterfly. And based on the geography, we believe there would be 1,000 species of butterfly. And for plant, we have thousands of plant species. And here I show you about our natural heritage, especially where it is very attractive for tourists. So we have like elephants, we have like dolphins, birds, and we have also beautiful butterflies, and we have also like else deer. And the last one here, you see, it is a monkey. It is a duck. It is also endemic to Cambodia, where you see it is only at Annamai Mountains. So it can be in Laos, Vietnam. If you come to Cambodia, you go to the east, one province that we call Modulgiri province, you will see that monkey that you see the tail very long, And sometimes you will see just hopping around the forest on either side of the road while you are in the car. You have to see that monkey. And now I would like to show you two places where you see many bird species and also very famous for bird watching. So first of all, please look at the map. So it is here. So at the edge of the Tonle Sap Lake or west of Cambodia. And that one we call Tonle Sap Lake. So Tonle Sap Lake not only very good for fishing and also to grow rice, it also very good. It supports one of the biggest water bird colony in Southeast Asia. Yes, and it also one of our conservation area that it became the conservation area from 1993, and until now it is best place for bird watching. And if you look at the pictures on top on the left hand side, you will see that bird that you see the bill is very big. That one we call spot-billed pelican. And Tonle Sap support, I think, about 30% of global population of spot-billed pelican. And if you go to the lake now, you will see hundreds pelicans. You will see the flock of hundreds pelican, and you will see a tree full of nests of pelican. And if you go down to the bottom, of if you look at below the pelican, you will see the gray color with some green leaf. So that is the tree nest of cormorants. So cormorant also very, very common around Tonle Sap Lake. And sometimes you see one tree with 200 nests or one tree with 300 nests. So look at the picture, you will see the gray color, that is the nest of the cormorant, and you will see the grayish white, that is the chick. So maybe 200 or 300 nests of that tree. And if you move to the last pictures of the slide on the right hand side, you will see 5 birds standing or landing or perching. So there are 5 birds, but one of them is completely different. There in the middle, from the left hand side of that picture, you will see another stork that we call milky stork. So milky stork, very rare in Cambodia. Only, I think maybe only 10 or 12 pairs recorded every year from the lake. So very small population. And Tonle Sap Lake is the only freshwater lake, or only the freshwater place in Southeast Asia where it breeds. So milky stork in other countries, they also breed in salt water. But in Cambodia, Tonle Sap is one of a unique place where it breeds. And the service bird watcher also go to Tonle Sap Lake because of milky stork. So there are 2 birds that very attractive for service bird watcher. So number 1 is greater adjutant. I will show you the picture later. And number 2 is milky stork, because milky stork is very rare. They're very rare. And Tonle Sap Lake, beside from this species, it supports more than 100 species of water bird. Yes. And if you do a day trip to that place, you may see between 50 to 70 species of bird. Yeah. And I go a little bit further from Tonle Sap Lake, from west to north of Cambodia. So yeah, to the north. So north of Cambodia, because of the forest is very nice and very good, we call dry dipterocarp forest. It supports many different species of bird. Especially we call the land of ibis and the land of woodpecker. There are more than 20 species of woodpecker in Cambodia. Especially if you go to the north, you may see sometimes up to 15 species or 20 species of woodpeckers over there. And that place also, very good, because it remains, the forest over there is still very good. It has still very safe for the bird. It also supports 2 critically endangered species. One we call giant ibis. If you look at the picture on the left hand side, you see the top one. that is giant ibis, the biggest ibis species. So that bird is very small, it is very small population. And in the past, it was also in Thailand and in Vietnam, but now they believe that it is extinct in Thailand and Vietnam. And Cambodia support almost 98% of the global population. And the population, I think, is more than just 250 birds. So very small population. And usually for culture tour, we usually say that if you come to Cambodia, you don't go and see Angkor Wat, it means you don't come to Cambodia. And for bird watching, if you come and you don't see the bird, we say you don't say you do bird watching in Cambodia, because that bird is very rare and it is now almost endemic to Cambodia. And in 2005, it was chosen as our national bird. So giant ibis is our national bird. But if you look to the bottom of the giant ibis, you will see another sister we call white-shouldered ibis. So white-shouldered ibis also very rare and it is critically endangered. So the population also very small. And the last one, you will see two birds together. That is very nice. One of the most beautiful woodpecker. We call black-headed woodpecker. So that bird also very nice. Yeah, also very nice. So the north of Cambodia, because of the land, because of the forest, and because of the situation or the climate, also it support many different species of bird. Yeah, more than I think almost 300 species recorded over there. And if we're talking about the special of Cambodia, we're also talking about natural resources, talking about the mountains, the forest, the biodiversity, especially animals. But at the moment, more special about Cambodia is conservation, because if we do conservation, it means that we save our natural resources. So in Cambodia now, conservation program is managed by our ministry that we call Ministry of Environment. So Ministry of Environment of Cambodia in charge of conservation of our natural resources. So up to now, more than 50 or almost 60 conservation areas set up in Cambodia, and it is almost half of Cambodia territory. But because of the unique of different places in Cambodia, we also put it in different category, like wildlife sanctuary, protected landscape, natural heritage park, Ramsar sites, multiple use area, and national park. But all of them are the protected. The reason only one is to protect our natural resources. Yeah. So Ministry of Environment plays very important role to protect our nature. So this is a map showing you about the conservation area across the country. So different color showing you about different category. Like I mentioned that some of them is national park, some of them is a wildlife sanctuary, and some of them is multiple use area. So look over here that to give you the idea where is the conservation area. So it is across the country, and almost half of the country territory are the protected area. And until now, after the Civil War, there are more conservation NGO, both local and international, work together alongside with the Ministry of Environment of Cambodia to save our natural resources. And what we are doing to save our natural resources, we are doing three different key. So number one, we do a lot of program to conserve our nature. And also we do a lot of education with the local people. And we also do ecotourism or livelihood. So the three projects are, the aim to protect our natural resources. And to conserve our forest, and also to to plant it back because some of the places already gone. The tree already gone. So the first program is called tree planting program. So until now, there are many places that the government and conservation NGO together try to plant it back, to restore the forest. So this is one of our program. And the second program to protect our bird is called nest protection. So the government and the conservation NGO, they also protect, they also take care of the forest, they also patrol, but they also do another one that we call nest protection scheme. So nest protection scheme is the project to protect the nest of some of the key species. So for example, here picture showing you about the nest of giant ibis. So there is a program that support the local people to take care of the nest of the bird. So the people in the north of Cambodia, they know where is the breeding season of the species. So they usually go out and find the nest. So when they find the nest, they will report to the government or to the conservation NGO, and the conservation NGO will give him some incentive, and he is asked to guard the nest. So the person who found the nest will be at the nest for sometime a month or sometime up to 3 months. So he's staying at the camp about 200 or 300 meters away from the nest, from the tree nest, and to record all the situations. For example, he will check when the adult bird come and when the adult bird gone, and also will stop and let the people who get across know where is the tree, and he will tell the people not to go in because of the tree, because of the nest of the bird over there. So this is also one of our program to take care of the nest of some of the key species. So I think more than 10 species of bird that they apply with the nest protection scheme, and I think there will be more and more about the nest protection. And another one that we call feeding program. So if we're talking about food chain, in the past we have good forest and we have a lot of mammal, and we have also tiger. So tiger will eat some of the moonjack and also the gaur, the other animal, and they usually also provide food for the vultures. And also some other places, because habitat lost, also food source also become low. So in Cambodia, we also do a feeding program, especially for the vulture. So they usually kill one of a cow 1 time or 2 times every month to provide food for the vulture. And we have also bird watching for tourists who want to see vultures in Cambodia. So they will also go there, and we call vulture restaurant. You don't go there and eat vulture meat, but you will go there to see the vulture eat the beef or eat the carcass. And another place where we do also feeding program, not really far from Siem Reap, and we have also a few species of bird, always very rare and very, very attractive for bird photographer, especially this bird we call Barbelipita, also one of very rare and difficult to see bird species in Cambodia. So that place, they also set up feeding program where tourists can go and see it very close, only a few meters from your eye. So sometimes you don't need binocular, you just go there with your eye and see the bird. And another one we call pond deepening program. So in the past, we have a lot of wild buffalo and also elephant, and there are a lot of seasonal pond where it's full of water in rainy season, but no water in dry season. But in the past, there's still water in dry season because of the buffalo and the elephant go there and play around, so they deepen the pond. But now, because no wild buffalo and no elephant, most of the pond gone. So we also think about deepening it to keep water for the dry season. So a few years ago, we also do some of the pond, and last year we went there and record. There are many birds and water still in the dry season. So we will do more for the program because it is very good. So feeding program, pond deepening, night protection, and tree planting, it is regarding to conservation. And we also do not only conservation, but to conserve our forest, to conserve our nature, we also do with people, especially with the children. So education program is also very important, that we introduce the importance of natural resources. We introduce about bird watching to the kids, to the local people, and we hope that they will love the bird. So we also do education program. Yes. So we believe that when people understand about natural resources and understand about the importance of our environment, they will join our conservation program. So working with people also very important. Yeah, very important. And now we also talking about ecotourism. So when we do conservation, we usually tell people not to go and hunt the bird, not to go and hunt the animal, not to go into the forest and cut the tree. But people who live in the north or in the countryside, especially in the forest area, they need to survive. So if we just tell them, they will say no, because they need to survive. So we found that ecotourism, or especially bird watching, plays a very important role in conservation. So because we prove it to the people, to the local people, and sometimes we tell the people about the giant ibis, about the bird, that is very good. It is very rare, but sometimes they don't believe. But when we bring tourists over there and we tell them that the tourists from United States, from Europe, that it took like 24 hours by flight to come here and they spend a lot of money to see the bird. So it is like to prove, to show the people the importance, to prove that what we said is true. So when we're talking about ecotourism, we were talking about how ecotourism benefit to local people and how ecotourism benefit to conservation. So here there's a map that done by Cambodia Bird Guide Association to show you the introduction about our natural resources and to show you the introduction about bird watching in Cambodia. So look over here that you see it is possible to do bird watching across the country. So yeah, across the country, because different places in Cambodia or different elevation, different type of forest support different species of bird. So look over here that you see around the Sap Lake, also very good to see the Bengal falcon and also to see water bird and Sarah's crane. If you go to the north to see the ibis, if you go along the Mekong River, you will see dolphins and also some of the endemic species of bird that we call Mekong wagtail. And if you go further east, you will see other high elevation species and also anamized mountain species of bird. So it is also possible in Cambodia if you want to see bird. It can be from a few hours itinerary up to 3 weeks. So we also organize like a 3-week itinerary. So this map is very good. Yeah, very good to show you the introduction of natural resources and bird watching. And this slide, I will show you about how ecotourism benefit to local people or to community. So ecotourism brings sustainable income to the local people and society. So when people go there, they need to stay overnight. They need to eat. They need local people to help them to go to find bird or to see different thing in the forest. And also show the people about the value of their natural resources. So as I mentioned, if we just say the tree is very good, it's very important, the bird is very rare, and the bird is very good in environment, sometimes they don't believe you. But when you bring tourists in, and tourists will prove what you said, tourists will motivate local people to join conservation, to join our program. And tourism not only to support the local people, but they also link local people to the world. So sometimes people who live in the forest, they don't know, they never meet European or American. So when we bring tourists over, they just say, I met Americans, I met European, or I met foreigner. And it is not only to show them to the world or to link them to the world, but also to sell, to preserve their culture and tradition. So this is the main point that ecotourism benefit to community. And now I show you about how ecotourism benefit to conservation. So people start, especially people who live in the conservation area, now they change their behavior and attitude to the conservation after they join, after they do ecotourism. And ecotourism also support conservation project and also link conservation to the world. And also key habitat and species saved or protected. Yeah. And my slide almost finished. So this is also one of the last slide showing you about how local people behave or do to conservation. So when we bring tourists in, so local people, they will get benefit. So when they get benefit from ecotourism, they will think about what they should do to sustainable their income, what they should do to get more tourists. So one of the point, they will try to keep their culture. They will try to keep to save the forest and to save their bird. So when they get money from tourism, they will think what they should do. So when we do ecotourism or when we do bird watching, local people start thinking about conservation and start thinking how they can support their natural resources. So they will join conservation program or project. They will become conservation activists, become the model. They will try to show their people about the model where they should do to support conservation, and also share their knowledge among their people. Yeah. So local people, they will also do conservation as long as they benefit from the project. So ecotourism play a very important role to support conservation in Cambodia. And my slide is all finished. Thank you very much for your watching and for your listening. And thank you very much to Mr. Mohit to organize this event. And I hope there will be more tourists coming to Cambodia after COVID-19.
Great.
Thank you
very much. Thank you very much. It was a wonderful presentation. I think you did your best to put this across to give a very wide overview of what Cambodia has to offer. So it was absolutely fantastic. There are also bird watchers here who want to see more of birds. So I'm going to ask you to prepare a slideshow of the birds, such as Cambodian tailor bird and Sarus cranes and your endemic species and the birding, the golden beavers and all the species, so that we can send that out to our people and keep them more engaged for Cambodia. And whatever that you showed here was fantastic, absolutely mind-blowing, because there are other dimensions we sometimes tend to miss out because we just keep looking at the species. Nevertheless, species are important and they need to go out in a slideshow to the guests in a day or so that we will prepare. In the meantime, friends, I just wanted to know, ladies and gentlemen, that Sarus Crane project has been a big success story in Cambodia, with the help of CPJ and other conservationists who have worked relentlessly to keep that species going extinct, from going extinct, and they managed to save that. So that's been fantastic, and they worked very hard on protecting Irrawaddy dolphin. You saw one slide where he was talking about the dolphins, and they're only few in number, but they're working very hard to keep the habitat intact. So there are challenges. When I was traveling through Cambodia last year or year before last, I saw that a lot of habitat was being destroyed, a lot of poaching pressures there, and CBGA and the naturalists from other organizations are working very hard to keep motivating the locals to stop hunting. So, so you could see the aspiration, the focus of people of Cambodia is to save, is to save what they've got, and but it's also my promise that I will prepare a slideshow and I will send it out to you, like how Chrissy's mentioned that. Yes, more bird slides. Yes, I know you aspire to see lots of birds, so I will prepare a slideshow and I will send it out to you. But I think it was a brilliant one. If anybody has any questions for Srun, please write down in the chat, and he'd be happy to answer. In the meantime, I'm going to just start with one poll, just to know if you've been to Cambodia or not. And then I'm also going to share the checklist of birds that you can download if you like. And Fareen, you can also post the Cambodia tour that we'll be doing. It's a 7-day tour, but we're looking at a number of people sort of joining in sometime in November, where we'll be focusing mostly on birds and a bit of culture as well. But it's not final yet because we don't know how COVID is going to treat us. So you could join us on one of these tours. And I think, Srun, it's very important to let people know about the endemic and the threatened birds in detail. So if you could help me prepare a slideshow, we could send it out to people on email, and it'll be very helpful for them to
yeah, we can do. And yeah.
So that'd be fantastic. So friends, just make a note of that so that that's something that's required. Friends, I'd like to know if you have any questions to ask soon, and anything to do with Cambodia, anything to do with birds, seasonality, breeding behavior, or any of these things. Soon knows it all. He's been leading many birding tours. He's been involved with conservation. So I know that he's a very capable man. If nothing, then I will urge you to open these links here, and then next week we're going to be talking. We're going to be taking you to Goa with Mike. That'll be next Thursday, so you could join in, and of course you will get to hear from beforehand, so you can register for that webinar. But next month again, Srun and I will be back, and we will be deep diving into the bird life of Cambodia as we go along. Do let us know if you've got any question, and right now we'll just sign off. And thank you for being with us. It was absolutely
thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.